Are you challenged with the energy of money? Maybe your energy around money is scarcity or fear. Well, today I'm going to share three things I've learned from successful entrepreneur and businessman Ken Honda on money. Welcome back to the podcast today. So glad to have you here. So money is something that lots of us struggle with, and I've dedicated certain episodes each week to talking about money because it's definitely something that's held me back. I've been in a place of scared to look at the bank account, scared to spend stuff because I've overspent, and then I've gone in this vicious cycle. And it's something I'm always working on. And by learning stuff and implementing what I've learned, it's really helped me with my money story. And I know it can cause relationship struggles, it can cause emotional struggles inside ourselves and I've definitely been there with money, right? I thought, people being upset at me years ago for what I did with money because I was struggling with it. And I've had a lot of stress, anxiety around it as well. So totally relate if you're someone who is going through that. Now, Ken Honda is a guy who teaches about money, teaches about wealth, and he's learned some very valuable lessons. He's a very successful entrepreneur, but he's also a money energy expert. He's really good at learning about money and teaching it to people and giving some very valuable lessons. So today's episode is dedicated to three points that I've learned from Ken on this. And I've been recently going through one of his programs in Mind Valley, and it's really, really, really been insightful to further my relationship with money even more. So I want to dive into these 3 points with you today. Now, as always, don't just listen and be like, oh, that's very inspirational, that's great. Make sure you're implementing, make sure you're putting it into your life, because listening to something and not applying it is pretty much pointless because you're not going to change. If you're struggling with something and you hear something, you don't do it, and I've been there many times, then your life won't change. That's why people go around in this whole personal growth cycle of I'm going to event to event to event and then not changing. So here's some 3 practical things that I've learned from him, and don't overdo it. Just start small. Just pick one of these and just schedule it in. So number 1, energy and your relationship. Talk to money like it's a person. Sit down and say, money, what do you want to tell me? Now, this sounds a bit like woo-woo, what's going on? But just try it. Just for a minute, sit in silence and say, money, what messages you have for me? You're not loud on your phone, no music, no one talking to you, just you in silence. And I'm saying a minute because else if I said 10 minutes, you likely wouldn't do it. So it's just starting small. So just for a minute, connect to money and say, what message do you have for me? Now, I know for me, it said things like, focus on loving you and enjoying your life a lot more rather than trying to chase me because I want to come to you. You just have to allow me. And that's really allowed me to get more into an energy of creativity, doing what I love, and then opportunities show up along the way when I'm feeling good and I'm in good energy. And that's what I've heard from money. Just try it. If you're skeptical, great. That's really good to question these kind of things, but experiment and see what it tells you, right? So if we had a partner and we weren't listening to them and we kept ignoring them, how do you think they'd feel? Do you think they'd give more to us? Do you think they'd respond well? No. Well, think of your relationship with money in the same way, and it can really improve it. Now, even when I've had knockbacks and I've listened to it, I've been okay, what am I missing? What am I doing? And I could have been overspending, being reckless with it. I could have been just being in a scarcity chasing energy. And it's allowed me to hear that when I've really connected to that energy. So that's the first one. What is money telling you? Number 2, identify what type of money profile you've got. Now, I would Google Ken Honda or another money expert and look at these profiles. See if you can do it online, because there's different types of profiles for people. So understanding what you are is really going to help. And people are different types. And for example, there's things like the controller, like controlling saving type, and that's not always a bad thing. There's pros and cons to each one. The person who likes to really, really save the money and keep it. But there's also a hoarder, someone who's doesn't want to give money away, keep it themselves because they're scared, right? That's a different type of controlling. There's the spender, someone who likes to, this is me, by the way, someone who just likes to enjoy life and spend. Now, that's great. The saver and the hoarder is great in a way that, you're looking after your money, but also you reduce, it can be so much that you don't actually go out there and enjoy it. A spender is going out and enjoying it, but sometimes you can get so reckless that you just lose track of your money and then suddenly you're in debt, right? Been there. But it's like understanding where you are and what's the healthy ground so that you can spend to enjoy yourself, or the saver can save, but maybe they save a little bit to enjoy themselves as well. And then there's the indifferent, the person who's like, I don't think money's important. Money's actually, like, this is my point of view. Money is, right? Money isn't a bad thing. It's what people choose to do with it, right? Money's an energy, and it's like your attitude towards people, but like you've got an attitude with money as well. People who are indifferent to it are like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm going to ignore it. And guess what? They usually get in debt, right? So it's like, okay, the good thing about that is maybe you're not so serious that you're scared about it. Great. But also, how can you like be a bit more conscious about it? What can you do to pay attention to it? Like if you're different, it doesn't mean you have to study every single Wall Street article or anything like that. But like, how can you make a little bit more of a connection to money and see it as a good kind of energy? And then there's the fear type, the ones who are very fearful about it, running out of the economy. Now, I can understand it because like the news puts all these kind of stories online. It's like the economy's crashing, recession, blah, 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 all those kind of things, right? And I'm not saying challenges don't arise, right? I'm not burying my head in the sand. But it's like, if you look at the amount, I've worked on projects and I've seen how much footballers are paid in the world. Does that like, from like the amount, like the government or like even like private companies put into like their projects, into what they're doing, or how much footballers are paid like abroad, particularly in places like Saudi Arabia, and actually in the UK as well, and many other, and a few other countries where footballers are paid extremely amounts. A lot of us can go, oh, that's really unfair. Like, why is there so much money there and I have little? But what that shows me, how I see this, is actually there's so much money out there. There's an abundance of money out there. It's just I need to change my attitude or my energy towards money and change the way I've done things. And then I find it attracts more to me. Now, I'm not paid as much as Cristiano Ronaldo, or like Elon Musk. But when you look at those kind of people, obviously Cristiano Ronaldo is nowhere near as much money as Elon Musk. But I'm talking about an example of a footballer really paid well, and then the richest man in the world being Elon Musk currently as I speak. But it shows that there's money out there. So therefore, why would I feel it if I'm in the right energy? Why'd I fear it if I'm not in the right energy? So that's the second thing. There's different types. And then number 3 is something called arigato. It's a great phrase that Ken learned from his mentor. I've forgotten his mentor's name, but it's the concept of every time you receive money, you say arigato. It's a phrase. It's a different way of saying thank you to receiving money. So any kind of money that comes in, your salary, someone gives you a fiver or whatever, you say arigato because it's like, I'm so grateful for the receipt of money. But you also say arigato when you spend money on a coffee, giving to charity, or even paying your taxes, right? Anytime you spend money, you say arigato as much as possible, because that creates a positive attitude with money that you're spending it and it's going around in the circulation and it's going to come back to you. So that's also the third point that Ken shares around the energy of money. So again, just going through the 3 points I've made today, which one are you going to implement? Number 1 is creating a relationship with money, like every day connecting for like a minute. Money, what do you have to tell me? Right. Number 2, understanding what type of money profile you have in your personality. Are you controlling? Are you like a hoarder? Are you like a saver? Are you a spender? Are you indifferent to money? Are you fearful about money? And often indifferent and fearful can be very, very similar. But and actually there can be fear in all of them. But like, which one are you? And how can you change that? There's other profiles as well. And then arigato, how can you appreciate not only receiving money, but spending money? Like paying taxes, I didn't talk about this a moment ago, but actually, wow, you earn some money. How grateful is that you get to pay taxes on it? Now, I know you probably want to keep that money rather than pay taxes, but appreciating that is going to create more of a circulation of money to you. So that's what I wanted to share with you today around the energy of money. So thank you so much for listening. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.